Yes, it's the Monday Club. Welcome aboard. What is happening? I hope everyone's first day back at work has not been as rough as some. Connor Carr, good to have you on. Thanks for stepping in last minute, my man. I appreciate it. And you will be joining us. Am I speaking on mute?
No, you're all good.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Was I not on mute there?
No, you're fine.
It was flashing mute.
I don't know what to tell you, mate. I don't know what to
Do you
tell
know
you, mate.
what? I just really need to work on, getting my audio and stuff sorted. Do you know what I mean? We need to work on that. Do you know what I mean? And be a more professional fan media podcast. Okay, let's get cracking with all that good stuff, and then we are going to talk Callum McGregor. We are going to talk other rumoured signing targets, and just fucking how great it is that Brendan Rodgers is back. I'm not having to listen to that Ange Postecoglou press conference today either. Right, okay, let's do it. All that good stuff means gives a wee like, gives a share, slag my hair. If you want to become a Bhoycie Bus member like so many of you have, the likes of Jim C, Alistair Jack, Gary Brown, Stephen Murdoch, Kevin 14, Pam, Scott Howe, legends everywhere, man. Love it. San Fran Celtic. What a name. San Fran Celtic. We love it. It is $1.99 a month, but of course it's completely optional. Remember as well, you can head over to piesports.com. 12.5% tasty discount. But yes, get involved. Now, strange read it on Twitter, wasn't it, Connor? I'm getting all these notifications thinking that bus stop was lively that we did yesterday with Phil. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, a few folk got called out. But one folk who didn't get fucking mentioned is he said he gets these 20-minute Tim guys who must think they're famous or something. I don't know who they think they are, man, but it turns out there's been a bit of discord in the ranks, you could say, because someone's been linking photos and screenshots of the last 12 months of them savaging everyone basically and saying they're all twats. There's actually, this is the honest truth corner. At one point last year, they shared a photo from my social media. Now, none of them are on my social media. Took the photo, saved it to his phone. I think he calls himself Crumbs. Fucking old Crumbs, mate. Your ears must be burning, son, because he took a photo, saved it to his phone, and shared it with me in the group chat. It's not even a bad photo. I look all right, mate. I'm quite chuffed. I'm like, I didn't get the problem. But I've never had any beef with them. And it's not just about me. They slagged everyone, do you know what I mean? I think when you're slagging off folk like Harry Brady, I think the insecurity lies somewhere at their door. It was funny watching the big Twitter blow up. But yeah. Anyway, we'll not spend 20 minutes talking about them. I think I've heard they've had to delete their Discord and everything.
I mean, if he's wanting to hear us talk shit about them, it'll cost you, £9 a month for that stellar content.
£9 a month for what? Just telling everyone else they're shite. Honestly, it's mental. Anyway, they can crack on doing what they want. But if they want to slag off my pals, I don't really like that. By all means, you can slag me off, guys. I mean, yous are fucking amazing. Yous are wonderful. We love you. Right, okay, let's get stuck in it. Should not waste any more time on that shite. Connor, Cal Mack signs a new deal now. If you wanted to be a right, digging a wee bit deeper, mate, stirring the pot a wee bit more, you could almost say that Bustalgia show on Friday was some timing, was it not?
Perfect timing, I know. It's funny how the universe kind of aligns like that. You know what I mean? But yeah, I'm very, very happy that Captain Fantastic has signed a new deal. Because now that our favourite Portuguese is away, now there's, who's the best player in the country now? Well, it's Callum McGregor by a country mile. And he signed a new deal that's going to keep him here for a very long time. 2028. So that'll be him about 35. So he's basically just spending the rest of his career here. So I'm very, very happy that he's penned this new deal because, he's been absolutely excellent for Celtic ever since he started making an impression and joining the first team. And since then, he's just grown stronger and stronger with each passing season up until he, took the reins from Scott Brown, which I feel like it kind of goes understated how hard a job that would have been, considering how much Scott Brown had won and how synonymous he was with that captain's role. But Callum McGregor's just took it like a duck to water, and he's been absolutely incredible in that job. And what a job he's done, and long may it continue. He's absolutely consummate professional, and he's the example of what a captain should be, because, he actually wins stuff, unlike other captains.
I love it, mate. I love it. And do you know what the thing is as well? But just I described it on Twitter. Probably thought I was a wee bit of a weirdo. I'm like, I can't always talk on Twitter like I talk on the bus. If you're watching it, you get it. But I was like, we're starting to get lubed up now. I put on Twitter. What's going? He's a bit of a creep, him. But you know what I mean? I think we are now warming up to seeing the long-term plan in place here. These are power moves when you get your top goal scorer for last season on a long-term deal. You get you get Callum McGregor, the captain, El Capitano on a long-term deal. And the rumours are, of course, it's vastly improved terms that Callum McGregor signed for as well. He's just turned 30 years old. 5 years takes him up to 35. I mean, his legendary status will be through the roof by that point. Does he carry on playing 50, 60 games in that period of time? Maybe. He seems to have an engine that can do that. But what we've got to admit is these are movements that are just warming you up, tickling you a wee bit, tickling your balls, you could say, mate, because they are now getting us ready for the incomings. And I think they might even announce another couple of new contracts as well in the coming days. And this might be the final week where we see contracts getting tied up, Celtic getting its shit together, its house in order, and then it being a case of next week, you get all your own, get your own house in order, mate, and then we start looking at adding what will be, some impressive key elements, I think, to the first team that we'll see arriving, in the next week or two, anyway. But I think they might not stop here with the new deals. I think there might be one or two more. Ryan McGinley's in the chat. It's brilliant to have him in the bus as always. Top lad, doing great work at the Celtic way. See, I can be nice to folk. But he's suggesting, that what about maybe a new long-term deal for like a CCV next? Wow, that would be the icing on the cake, would it not, Connor? That did you see Celtic what they're doing right now? Is the strategy right now to go, be excited, we're keeping your heroes, right? Okay, shot a left, but we got 25 million quid for a guy that cost us 6 million last summer, right? End of story, right? That's how it works. That we're susceptible to any sort of bid like that for a player. But the other guys that you're worried about, we're keeping them. They're all getting long-term deals. They're signing on for the future with Brendan. I think CCV, they will be asking a similar question to, perhaps.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of the opposite of what Ange was saying. He was saying, don't fall in love with your heroes. They might not be for very long, but so far we've had, Kyogo, Dyson and Callum McGregor signed long contract extensions, so they'll be here for a very long time. It's only Jota and Andrew that seem to be away. But if it was Carter Vickers, that would just make me blow my top, man. I'd just go absolutely nuts because
and no one wants to see that.
I speak for yourself, man.
Trust me, mate. definitely, mate. Do not want to see me losing my top.
But it would be excellent. I was thinking that maybe it would be Hatate as well, because his future's kind of been a wee bit up in the air over the past couple of weeks with links to Saudi and links to the Premier League as well, and his agent's coming out and he said he wants to go to the Premier League and stuff. So I feel like if it was Carter Vickers and Hatate were to sign even just a 2-year contract extension, to keep them here for a while longer, that would be excellent news as well, because then even if they were to go, we know we'd just be getting absolutely bang for our buck. You know what I mean? Another 50 million, 60 million in the bank if they were to go, whatever the hell it would be. I don't know, but yeah, it's a really positive headspace we seem to be in. I don't know what I'm going to do with myself. I've not got any rants to go on anymore. Everything's all positive. I can't be calling everybody a shower of fucking arseholes and that, and this is shite and da.
Leave that to me, mate. But aye, no, you're right. Everything is so positive right now, and I think the best is yet to come. The best news this summer, well, you could argue Callum McGregor signing on is brilliant news, but we knew he was going to stay anyway. Callum Mac's not leaving Celtic. But I think there'll be even better news to come this summer, definitely. But it is another strong point. It's Brendan making power plays, mate. He has just shown his bit of swagger right now. He's going, thought they were playing for Ange. They play for Celtic, and they'll play for me as well. Do you know what I mean? And I think Cal Matt was very quick to say how delighted he was that Brendan was back. We've seen Matt O'Reilly last week saying it's refreshing to have a guy that will sit and have his lunch beside you and stuff like that. I think they're all very much now turning and beginning to look at Brendan going, he's done it again. He's good at this fucking hypnosis thing, man. He is brilliant at it. But yes, I think, it's a brilliant move by Celtic. It's another good news story, as you say, as well. And right now, the stories just keep getting better and better at our club. Do you know what I mean? It's a summer to be excited about. I said it was going to be the summer of love, which has been, I suppose, so far. But it also has been a wee bit of a summer, and I think what will be a season of madness. If the rumours are true that he's now on elevated wages, and the rumours are around £60,000 a week, some are saying, that's a rumour, by the way. Nobody fucking knows, let's be honest, right? But the rumour is that's around 60 grand a week. Would that mean Celtic are getting in there first with Callum and going, look, there is going to be, because there's going to be higher level players coming in, hopefully Scott McTominay, that's the one I want. I do think that could then lead the way or make it more palatable if guys are coming in on bigger wages straight away. Well, we can't say it's upsetting the apple cart or it's, imbalancing what our normal wage ceiling is, because the captain's already on that sort of money. So they're just joining him now. Is that getting your ducks in a row for what will be, as I say, the summer of mad? Oh, there we go. Ryan McGinley's back in the chat. I'm being a wee bit biased towards him tonight, but so what? He's saying the exact same thing. They adjust the wage structure accordingly. We think we'll see a higher calibre. I think it's right, and just out of respect to Calmac, make him the first one of said new structure.
Aye, because a wee bit of kicking the balls to Callum if, all he's gave to the club over the years, and there's players coming in that, could come in and only last a season or 2 seasons and be off ski again that are getting paid double, triple, whatever he was earning, do you know what I mean? So it would be a bit of a strange one if he wasn't one of the ones getting paid that kind of money, because let's be honest, if the rumours are true, if it's a Scott McTominay or it's a Donny van de Beek, they're on fucking ridiculous wages at Man United. No matter how much or how little they play, they get that money because it's there for them. So if they were to come in and we were to, say, we're going to offer you, say, 50k a week or something like that, and Callum McGregor's like, whoa, I've been here, putting in blood, sweat and tears, fucking literally in most cases for Callum because of how much he plays, and you are going to offer him 50 grand a week and to, play on a second fiddle to me a couple of times because I'm still the captain, do you know what I mean? I'm still, the head honcho when it comes to the first 11. So, yeah, I think it does give you a little bit of a look into what may be happening behind the scenes and what is to come. And it's, it's getting very exciting. It's getting my plums pumping. I'm very happy.
It is very... The pennies just dropped what you said there.
You catch it on, sir.
I'm new to this game, mate. That's funny. yeah. It was that funny, mate. It nearly broke my internet connection. That's how funny it was. Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of talk now. This could set the way for a Scott McTominay. I've probably got everyone's hopes up with that one. I'm saying it from a personal want that I would like us to sign Scott McTominay. This is not a ITK or wannabe ITK moment from the bus. We are very much, I think a side that keeps all that stuff in-house. I don't think I'll find out if we are after Scott McTominay, although I stand by. He would be high on the list. If I were ever given the keys to the transfer war chest corner, I think he would be high on my list. Some people might not. Barry Smith, are you off your head? Scott McTominay, he says, no way do I want him. Fabian Reeder is far better. I'll take them both. Let's have them both, Barry. Let's be excited.
Look, it's the same thing with Jota and Carter Vickers. They're both amazing. Which one am I going to take? We went and fucking got both anyway.
I totally, mate. That was right. That was true. I kept saying that last summer as well. I kept going, towards the end of last season. So I don't know why the debates now became I would take CCV before Jota. I'm like, we want them both. Obviously, you've touched on it, so we'll go into that situation, and I don't mean your plums. You touched on the fact that Donny van de Beek was linked. I mean, is he as exciting as some of the other names that I've mentioned or that have been mentioned? No. I mean, I've got to say, definitely like, it doesn't excite me as much. I think, though, maybe recency bias is based on that. Nearly relegated to a shitey Everton team, albeit Frank Lampard is in charge. I know that was a disaster.
And Sean Dyche.
Hardly a footballing manager, but
Yeah.
Van de Beek reminds me of that spell. They did get to the Champions League semi-final. It was Lucas Moura that put them out in the last minute, wasn't it? What are you laughing at? Just tell me what you're laughing at.
It's nothing,
I'm
mate.
watching you, mate. You're looking at your
It's
phone and
nothing.
you're laughing at me.
No, it's nothing to do with you, mate. Honestly, trust me.
Fucking, I'm gonna get I'm gonna get an inferiority complex here. Fuck's sake, my youngest contributor's taking the piss out of me on my own fucking shitey wee bus. Chance have I got, mate?
No, you're not right, mate.
No worries. Okay. But yeah, when it comes to the Van de Beek sign, I don't know. It just didn't quite give me that excitement that the other names that have been a wee bit out there, shall we say, have done so far.
Yeah, because you look at it, he obviously had a tremendous amount of pedigree and hype when he came to that Ajax team under Ten Hag, and then he went to Man United, and then he's kind of been I don't want to say a flop, because I feel like that term gets bandied about for Premier League players, you know what I mean, just like all the time. If you don't score or contribute, 25, goal contributions in your first season at one of these massive clubs where there is pressure on you, then you're branded as a flop, especially if you're not a young player coming from a big team who did well in Europe like Ajax. But he's been in and out the Man U team a lot. I mean, I don't follow Man U and Premier League football that much, but he's not been, I'd say, one of the main guys there. He's kind of been in and out, and he got loaned to Everton last season, and working under Frank Lampard and then Sean Dyche, I don't think would be good for anybody's fucking mental health or footballing career if you're there's a Dutch wonder kid who's an attacking midfielder who's got the whole world in front of him at his feet, and then all of a sudden you're down in the doldrums with poor old Everton. But it's the thing is with the Scott McTominay thing is it's recency bias as well. When Van de Beek was at Ajax, there's not a fucking chance a club like Celtic would have been able to get their hands on him, like, genuinely at all. And then for a wee while, Scott McTominay kind of looked like he wasn't doing that great at Man U, even though he was a bit of a stalwart in that team. And then you've seen what he's been able to do recently in the Scotland games under another manager, Steve Clarke, and he just looks to have been able to get the best out of him. And that's the thing. It's like, players can look shit under different managers, and they can look excellent under other ones. So if we were to sign Donny van de Beek, let's not say that he wouldn't be an absolute baller. I mean, let's be honest, like, the league's absolute fucking drossy anyway. You'd probably scoosh it up here. Do you know what I mean? It's just Europe you'd have to think about. And I think in terms of the two players, if you're comparing them side by side, I'd say Scott McTominay has that more European pedigree, and he would, kind of shore up that midfield, be a bit more of a physical presence while still being very good in the ball. And as we've seen recently with Scotland, Steve Clarke, he's got an eye for goal.
Well, yes, indeed, he certainly does. But Van de Beek, yeah, I mean, Monty's saying that he's class. I mean, Van de Beek was one of the key components of that Ajax team, wasn't it? It was him and Frenkie de Jong. Is that right? That was starring for the Eredivisie champions at the time, with Arthur Newman's Adams Ippel. But I think when they had that moment in time, it did feel like he was he not captain as well? Am I right in thinking he was captain Ajax?
Van de Beek, maybe, aye.
I think he was. We'll just roll with it. He was.
Wouldn't he be like us to just make things up and just throw
I'll just make things up. We just make stuff up all the time.
Wouldn't he be like us?
But yeah, the former Ajax captain, Manchester United legend, Donny van de Beek is on his way on a 5-year deal. No, I'm only joking. Now, it would be interesting if we are looking at players of that sort of calibre as well. Stephen Reid put in the comments that he's on about double the money that McTominay is right now. It's hard to know whether it's a lazy link or not this year. But all I would say is I think we are now, as a fan base, and I'm certainly hoping we're now beginning to come to terms and get to grips with we're going to be getting linked this summer, and we are going to be bringing in people this summer of a different calibre than we've been accustomed to. Celtic's direction of travel has changed. Monty says I was thinking Davy Klaassen, or maybe. I don't even know who that is, but we'll say I was. Cheers, Monty. But yes, if we were to be bringing in the likes of a Van de Beek, a McTominay, Reader, of course, was linked as well as at Ryder. If JT's just said Van de Beek, sounded good though, didn't it? Former Ajax captain, Man United legend, joined Celtic. I like it. But yeah, I think if we were bringing in, one or two midfielders, it does seem to be an area of the park that we are looking to strengthen. I'm quite convinced that that's only because every area now Celtic will be looking at. If there is an available option to strengthen, we will do so. Now, that's not because certain players have underperformed or we're writing them off corner or anything like that. It's just how you evolve a team as you keep bringing in the best possible players available, regardless of whether we've got someone we think is nailed on for that position. Doesn't mean there isn't better out there. And that is when you get real progression, and you get as well, more importantly, Connor, real competition in the squad, which I always think reaps rewards.
Aye, I mean, let's be honest. I know everybody says like it happens every season. People and supporters are like, "Oh, how's this player going to fit in? How are they going to get in ahead over said player?" And then they come in, and then if they turn out to be very, very good, they're a starter. Think about Anthony Ralston for a second. He or Bhoycie Bus when he left, people were, when Arthur Johnson was coming, thinking, "How the hell is this boy going to get in ahead of them two?" Because I know that, well, the just past season, Ralston never had his best time due to injury and things like that and limited game time. The season before, he was excellent. We preferred him. I think a lot of people did, preferred him. He was Bujanovic, thinking he was a better player, and I still agree with that. In terms of being an actual defender, he was excellent. He came up with one of my favourite Celtic goals of all time, that last minute header against Ross County. He was, there's compilations after that season, Gloriam put in fucking crazy tackles, and he was looking really, really strong. And even in the bloody DVD they brought out, people like Joe Hart and that were saying that they'd seen Anthony Ralston early and thought he was the kind of player that they liked, and he's the kind of person that they wanted to see flourish and grow. And Ange Postecoglou kind of did that way with Ralston for his first season. And then Alistair Johnston's came in, and he's looked 10 times better. He looks like one of the best right backs we've had at this club for years. He is slotted in like fits him like a glove, that position. You know what I mean? So people are very much, they like the flavour of the month. They like these players who come in, and they like, nobody wants to see Hatate or O'Reilly or, Kyogo or Maeda lose their positions.
There's always a whipping boy, isn't there, Connor, throughout the season?
Aye, the whipping boy changes. For 1 minute it was Joe Hart, 1 minute it was O'Reilly, then it was Ralston, and before that it was Juranovic, and and then it was Taylor. It changes all the time. So I think the question is who's going to get it next. I think it's went back to Joe Hart now, actually, because people are obviously clamouring for a new goalkeeper, myself included. But it's very much just a part of the game now, isn't it? You can't. I think it's you can keep the same team, I'd say, the same first 11 kind of for a couple of seasons, maybe 3 at a push. But then things, I think, start to get stale. It's not the way it was back 20 years ago. You could keep that same starting 11, really, the core of it for 5 seasons, and you were still cushy. It's different now. It's a different game. You have to be constantly changing, constantly evolving, because football now is just done at a million miles an hour, and it's it waits for no man. You can't wait to catch your breath. You have to just keep going for it, and I think we kind of have to just roll with the punches now on this, and just enjoy what Brendan's going to bring.
Fair enough. I also think as well, Connor, has the change? I want to bring up Sanford and Celtic's point here and debate it with you, because I think there's a lot of honesty in that. I think he's a lot of accuracy as well. I have to agree with him. I think that maybe there's been a shift in attitude, because what's about to come down the line with the Champions League in the following year is actually even more crucial to make sure we get, because if we don't get it, remember, it's the likelihood is it will be them. Do you know what I mean? And we don't want that either. And with that in mind, Celtic are going to do something very differently to their normal attempts at getting what was still massive cash windfalls from the Champions League over the last decade or so that we've missed out on, because we were reactive. We were in that window of opportunity where we would either strengthen for the qualifiers, or we would wait to see how the qualifiers panned out and then give the manager his budget accordingly. Naturally, when you do that, the chances of getting through said qualifiers become trickier, and you end up with a smaller budget for the manager because you've not actually made it to the group stage. With this guaranteed second year in a row group stage football that we've got, and with the fact the Champions League expands next year, there's more money on offer, that dangling away in the background, the fact we've broke our wage structure managerially and made Brendan Rodgers the highest paid manager since Brendan Rodgers. I know he just likes hearing that line. If you're watching Brendan, that was for you. And now it looks like we've broke the wage structure again that was in place for Callum McGregor. It looks to me like there has to be a reason in this. Let's be honest. If we're honest about the Celtic board, they've hardly got a history, mate, of going, woohoo, let's go for it. I couldn't get my voice very high there. But you know what I mean? They hardly just go, fuck it, let's have a go this year. It's not really their attitude. So I would imagine there's got to be some sort of financial gain as being the outcome that they're trying to achieve by this. But isn't it great to see us just being that wee bit more aggressive? Or not that we've seen it yet, but it does feel like we're going to be more aggressive this summer, and the spending may well expand to levels that we're not exactly used to as a fan base, and it may well be for the reason that San Fran Celtic's saying. I agree with San Fran Celtic. I think it will be because they'll think the rewards further down the line for having a wee go this summer are massive.
It's it's a nice change from what we've seen usually previous seasons, which is usually, you know, Dermot doing his best Scrooge McDuck impression. He's swimming about his giant vault bank full of money. So, you know, and not spending any of it in Celtic. But it's nice to see, because obviously Celtic and the board previously have never really, you know, built on a position of strength, and, you know, just took the gamble, as it were, to, you know, spend a bit of money beforehand and then recoup a bit of it with the group stage Champions League money. And look, that's not even just to say that you would just get the group stage money. You get money per win. You get money per draw, in these Champions League games. And it also builds up players' profile, manager profile, all of these things. And it's been a bugbear of mine for years, because the Celtic board have just been so short-sighted over the years and not really, you know, invested properly. And it's, you know, we've been really angry about it, and rightfully so, over the years. But looks like now they're kind of changing their ways. And look, I hope that this isn't going to just be this is bringing it down again, but I hope this isn't going to be like just this for one season, so that we can get the extra money for the Champions League next season, so that we qualify, and then it just stops, and then we go back to the way things were. I don't think it will, but I mean, you wouldn't put it past them. But for now, it looks like we are moving forward and investing more money, really backing the manager, which is really, really, you know, encouraging. So we'll have to just see what they do, whether he goes and gets, you know, your big names for the Premier League, or he spends a lot of money on boys like that Reader and players who, you know, are young and hungry, who are going to go to that next level, who Brendan can shape and mould into these superstars, which he's going to do, because, you know, if there's one manager coming into this league who's going to make players who even been here before better than they ever thought they possibly could be, it's Brendan Rodgers.
Well, I agree. So let's look at it from the players' point of view, because we feel Celtic's horizons are broadening, and we think that we are now looking at bringing in, you know, players that, as I say, we're not maybe accustomed to normally, or spending money that we're not really used to seeing, and that could be in wages, fees, etc. But let's flip it and go, well, for years we were kind of told that the reason we weren't spending the money is because players won't come to Scotland. They don't want to come to Scotland, players of that ilk. So we needs to be a young, you know, project player, and some of them you'll get, your strike rate will be iffy because they come with that risk attached, and other ones we will develop and will sell for a big profit. So what's changed in the landscape that now we feel as a fan base, I very much include myself in this, by the way, but what's changed that now leads us to being able to attract said players? Has it been that Celtic's just now finally realising they're Celtic again, and the draw that actually alone holds, which I think is a far, far stronger argument than people know? Is it the fact that we're guaranteed group stage for the second year in a row, and people are going, okay, maybe they've got their shit together over there? Is it the fact that Brendan Rodgers is back in situ, and it's a manager that down south in particular they relate to and they associate with being an EPL boss. Do you know what I mean? And a top EPL manager at that, one that does things, changes outcomes at clubs down there. I put all that together, and I think Celtic, for whatever reason, has always been an attractive proposition. But I do think with the guaranteed Champions League, and I do think the Hollywood announcement of Rodgers is added to that, and it's made it all a lot more believable for us that these type of guys could be signed. Before I get your thoughts on that, Connor, I'll just agree with what John Boy 67 Graham says. Always great to have you on the bus, John Boy. He says, wallop that like button, troops. Help the bus stay at a 7-day service. Jeez, oh man. We're going to need a bigger bus.
Yeah, I think it could be a mixture of all of those factors. It's it's kind of anybody's guess now because we're not psychics. We have no idea why. We can just take a wild guess at it. But yeah, I think that the fact that Celtic do appear to have had their shit together, they've had two very, very successful seasons just there, and I would say it's a more attractive proposition now than it was, I think, even a few years ago. When Lenny was here and
Is it more
Rodgers was just
attractive? Is it more attractive had Ange stayed? Is it now more attractive with Rodgers there than Ange?
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%.
I agree with you. By the way, I do
I'm
agree
not
with
even. I'm not even like waiting to think about that. 100%. We all loved Ange when he was here, and I have no hard feelings against him. And I hope he does well down at Tottenham. But the only reason that he's a household name now in terms of Europe is because of Celtic. Do you know what I mean? Not because he what he did previously and what we were able to give him. So yeah, and he did get plaudits and he did get things in that, and he was successful in his own right as a manager before coming here. But to compare that to Brendan Rodgers is just like chalk and cheese, mate. They don't add up. Brendan Rodgers, one of the best modern day Celtic managers in its history. FA Cup winner with Leicester, Conference League semi-finalist, won the Community Shield. Bar the season that Leicester won the league, Brendan Rodgers was the manager that got them their highest ever points totals. And
totally,
they were one football kick away for Champions League football. It was like one goal scored for Champions League football. That's what happened on the
last minute goal, was it not?
Last minute goal. Do you know what I mean? So he's done incredibly well with the resources he's had at his disposal, and he's highly rated. He's beat some of the best football managers in the world. Jurgen Klopp's, Pep Guardiola's. This isn't just a man who his bread and butter is the SPFL. He's got serious caliber behind him and weight as a manager. Do you know what I mean? So it's and he's one Steven Gerrard slip away from winning the Liverpool's first Premier League title in donkeys. Do you know what I mean? So I was thinking about that today. Do you know what I mean? Like, people take the piss at Liverpool and that, and piss at Steven Gerrard for that because he was such a massive Liverpool fan. But see if Steven Gerrard doesn't slip at that moment, we don't get Brendan Rodgers. He goes on to stay at Liverpool and go and get other jobs elsewhere. He would never come to Celtic after that.
As a fan base, we have a lot to thank Steven Gerrard for. Let's be clear.
Yeah, we definitely do. But so it's I know we're just going to go and it's more attractive now because Brendan being back, but that is just a big name pool. If you're a football player, you're a young football player, you want to go to a big club that's got history and passion and a great fan base. Celtic has all that, but over the years before Brendan and that, they maybe, and when Lenny was here, they maybe never had the managers that could take your game to that next level. But with Brendan being back, it's that's there. It's this really attractive proposition that all these young players will be like, fucking, I want to work with him. I want to work with him. He will take me to the next level. And I don't think he's going to do what he did before and make Celtic Stepping Stone FC. Do you know what I mean? I think,
Do you think his mind shift's changed? If we speak about, we feel Celtic's mind shift has maybe changed. Do you think Brendan has as well? I think Brendan I think he was using any trick in the book to get players of the best possible quality last time round. And I think I went back to, I am convinced that he often went to as his first line of attack when negotiating with a player is, do well here and we'll sell you on. I do think, and you do wonder if it has maybe changed a wee bit now and that Brendan will be talking up the positives to come to Celtic. Stephen Ray comes in. He's been brilliant the last few weeks on the bus. I appreciate all your inputs, mate. And he's saying, Celtic are actually starting to get a name for up-and-coming players as well. We offer good money. We play in Europe. We compete for trophies. 60,000 stadium. And most importantly, probably, we are next door to the richest league in the world, which obviously is the holy grail for a lot of players and managers alike. He's not wrong, though, is he, Connor?
No, I think Stephen's got an absolute, great point there. It's all those factors there that make things attractive to these young players. And in terms of Brendan's mindset, he's he's older and wiser now, despite the fact he's still a relatively young manager. And he's obviously experienced a lot being at the Premier League. He's seen the glitz and the glam of getting all that money and playing there and competing, with the cream of the crop in terms of European football. And he's maybe now sitting back and he's going, I don't want to have my job or my career on this, sugary peg, because you know how the pendulum swings in the Premier League. You could be gone by next week, after one bad result. It's a very, very dicey situation over there. It doesn't matter how long they sign you on for; they can just get rid of you like that. It's very cutthroat. And maybe Brendan wants to, looking back, he wants to right some wrongs. He wants to come back. And I know I'm looking at this in a very romantic sort of way, but I guess that's just what Brendan does to me. But, see that interview the other day when the first thing he came out of his mouth was like, "Oh, hi Brendan, how's it being back?" And he's like, "Oh, it's like coming back to family." I just like, "Oh, you big bastard, I love you again." I think it'll be very apparent over the coming season of just where his mindset is at. There's only so much we can glean from interviews and articles in the newspaper and stuff like that, and stuff that's clearly edited to bring the manager out in the best possible light. But as the football starts getting played, and in terms of what happens in terms of Europe and his ambitions, we'll definitely see where his head's at.
Yeah, very much so. I think his approach will be different this time. See, when it comes to the Champions League and stuff, I think, the fact Brendan Rodgers left, went to Leicester, and I think the reasons that you gave are absolutely spot on. It was a career decision. He's made it this time, I think, not an emotional decision. I think he's made a career decision again. He's went, I fucking loved it at Celtic. See, towards the end of Leicester, it wasn't actually all it had cracked up to be, that being in that league. Do you know what? Celtic does just feel different when you're there. Do you know what I mean? And I think when it comes to Champions League, Connor, he's not ready to throw the towel in. He is not ready to throw the towel in on that. He still thinks he has got work to do to get. Hello. He's got to turn his camera off. He's got to, though, undeniably make a fist of the Champions League and try and get Celtic to I don't know, win more than 2 points. It's okay, Connor. It's all right, mate.
I tell people to leave me alone when I'm doing this. Need to listen.
I know. I bet he's laughing now. I bet when he comes off like, see you!
Mum's what you're going to do with him, eh?
He's got a... I think he has got an ambition. I think there's how would you describe? There's an itch to be scratched when it comes to the Champions League that I still think he wants to explore.
Yeah, it's kind of like that South Park meme where Randy Marsh is like sitting all there battered, but he's like, I don't hear no bell. That's kind of what I'm getting with Brendan, because I know he was on the end of a good few fucking spankings, at the hands of your PSGs in Barcelona, but I mean, he's still the same manager who did get us a couple of wins in the Champions League, who did go toe to toe with Man City, you know, who are arguably the best football team in the world right now. Do you
They'll
know what I mean?
Anderlecht 3-0 as well.
Yeah, Anderlecht in that as well, you know, and they're teams that in the Champions League over the course of our history we probably would have struggled to beat. You know what I mean, I always feel like it's the opposite with Celtic. Sometimes you tend to do better against the bigger teams and then we slip up against the smaller teams. You know, not that I'm saying Anderlecht's a tiny team, but for all the Anderlecht fans watching, but yeah, I do think that Brendan's got this hunger and he's made an emphasis on it. As he's been speaking before, he wants to take Celtic to a further place in Europe, and by all means, that's what the board and that's what Michael Nicholson and Peter Lawwell now, and I never thought I'd say that. You know, they're all kind of look like they're in tandem now, and it's just, you know, we're trying to make it this beautiful, harmonious image. You know, I know we'll have to wait until the first ball is kicked. You know, we can't be, you know, getting too gushing over him, but it's interesting. Obviously, you know, nowadays it's the luck of the draw, but do you know what I mean? It's with Brendan. I think, you know, we will go and make a better fist of European football, whether that is progressing to the next round of the Champions League or we drop down into the Europa League and we try and make a really good, you know, stab at that again into the later stages, or even, you know, we're in the fucking thing. I mean, look, could you imagine, right? The Europa League finals in Dublin. Brendan Rodgers has came back to Celtic to right the past wrongs. The prodigal son's returned, and Brendan takes Celtic with Callum McGregor, Celtic captain Callum McGregor, to the Europa League final in Dublin
against Spurs.
Against Spurs, who aren't in Europe this year, mate. I don't know if you noticed that.
They're not. I don't know. I didn't follow the team's progresses, mate. I'm a Celtic fan. Are they not even in Europe?
No, they're not even in Europe this year. So yeah, that's like, I know that's fairy tale shite, but Celtic's a fairy tale club. I mean, we can dream. That's what we're meant to do as supporters. We're meant to dream. We're meant to keep that passion. We're meant to keep that passion alive, the dream alive. If people didn't dream, if people who were part of this club never wanted to take us to the highest level possible and think we could, you know, best the odds, we wouldn't be where we are now.
Yeah, I mean, I go back to, I grew up in the 90s corner, right? It was fucking shite. Like, it was shite. Do you know what I mean? And see, we stopped at 10, that was a moment, and then basically, like, it was like reality bit again. It turns out it wasn't actually reality. It was all make-believe what was going on, to be fair. But they just, like, then won the league at a canter again for the next couple of years. Celtic had never won a European, you know, a big European game in my lifetime. I think we drew home and away with Liverpool in about 97, and I think that was the closest I got to like a big European moment. If you told me then that we would be in a Europa League final in 5 years or whatever after we stopped the 10, for example, we're going to a UEFA Cup final in 5 years, what? And by the way, to get there, we'll beat EPL teams, we'll beat German teams, Spanish teams, all the big five leagues, mate. The teams with the big five leagues, that's who we were scalping, mate. And done with distinction. I mean, I would have went, that's impossible. So anything can happen. I think you're right. I think if we want to look at how big we view Celtic, then being in a Europa League final at the end of this coming season, having finished third in a Champions League group, should not be beyond the pale to us and shouldn't be something that we scoff at. Should be something we fucking hope for and get on board with and start thinking about. Not fucking to go, oh, how daft are you? What? Because you're a pessimist. That's amazing now because it makes you right all the time. Well, fuck that. I don't follow football.
Being a pessimist must be fucking miserable, mate, honestly.
What's the point in following sport? Like, you've got your job, your day-to-day work should be what you're pessimistic about. When it comes to football, this is your release from day-to-day life, mate. This is your favourite thing for a reason. The fairy tales you talk about.
See, at the end of the day, right, this is a club built on the backs of Irish immigrants who came into a country where they were the minority and they built it into this thing. Do you know what I mean? Nothing's impossible. This club and everything is a fairy tale. You know what I mean? It's this club where men grew up within 20 miles of each other, beat the best of the best in European football. You know what I mean? The best team in European football. They went and did it. They all grew up within 20 miles of each other. All local lads. And taking that team and winning the fucking European Cup. The first team in the UK wasn't your Man United, your fucking Liverpools. It was us. And never let anybody ever take that away from us. Do you know what I mean? We see things that they'll never see, and that goes to every fucking football team in the world, because this club is special, and there's not a football club on earth like it.
Well, exactly, mate. Very, very positive. Now, before we go, one last talking point we will do, and it is quite funny because obviously Brendan came back, but do you remember when he left?
I try not to think about it.
Yeah, we can didn't happen. He's always been here. But you know, when he left the first time, he did a lot of talking to the English media. Now, I appreciate Ange today. It was a press conference. He was going to be asked about Celtic. It was natural. But if you remember, whenever Celtic came out of Brendan's mouth, I was like, oh, fucking sharp. Even I was. At first, I thought, oh, God, mate, you're trying to, like, have your cake and eat it. You fucked off. Stop trying to get us back on side. Obviously, by coming back, I've kind of moved a wee bit just because I'm also biased as fuck to whoever's in charge at Celtic. Do you know what I mean? But I do think when I'm seeing Ange talking about Celtic today, I'm like, oh, I'm back to what I was like when Brendan spoke about it when he went to Leicester. I'm like, oh, shut up, you birthday card pish. I know he's been asked the question. I knew he would at the press conference today. Did you think, oh, fair play to him? And probably, by the way, the reasonable side of me does think, oh, fair fucks. But I'm not always a reasonable person, not when it comes to football. And I think like my snidey side definitely was coming out today when I heard wee clips of it. I just thought, oh, fucking shut up, mate. Nobody cares.
I mean, I haven't heard it, so I wouldn't know the quotes you were talking about.
He was basically saying Celtic's like they don't have fans. It's just an extension of one big family. It should be on the bucket list of any manager to take that job. Things like this.
Oh, so it's, one of those quotes that in 5 years when he comes to play us in the Champions League with Tottenham,
When he comes back,
there's going to be in like green text above, an image of Ange, and people are going to post it, all over Twitter the fucking night we're going to play them in that, that kind of shit. I'm very much like, I don't care now. I'm just like, I'm not really interested. I'm only really interested in what's happening here. I mean, I'll maybe tune into a couple of Tottenham's results, and if the friendly with them at the pre-season, which is rumoured to be happening, does go ahead, then obviously I'll tune into that, and I hope we absolutely fucking cuff them, because it'd be quite funny that we would beat them. If one of Andy's first results in Tottenham was getting beat off his previous team, you just know that the fucking Tottenham fans would be absolutely spewing with that.
Is that game happening?
I don't know, mate. I'm just reporting
just more stuff we're making up on the bus.
Yes, yep. Look, I mean, look. Would you rather us sit and talk about fucking what colour Haksabana, which is dyed his hair, or would you rather us talk about this shit, man? Honestly.
I love it.
What kind of piss do you think fucking Rio Hatata likes? Do you think he likes salt and vinegar? I don't give a fuck, me, honestly. Let's just, talk about the real stuff here.
It is interesting though when you think about the Ange stuff, because you go, have we moved on as a fan base and learned from the time that Brendan left? Maybe we were a wee bit reactionary and we were a wee bit nasty and stuff like that. Or
I mean, the folks still are.
Is it just like the same sort of thing again where you go, oh, keep our club out your mouth, mate? Do you know what I mean? Sharp. I think the petulant side to us is allowed to be like that. I think, undeniably, by the way, with the examples of Neil Lennon returning to the job, now Brendan Rodgers in his second stint as manager, I think Ange is a career guy. And he'll not want to burn any bridges in what could potentially be somewhere he returned to one day. Wouldn't surprise me at all if he's got that in mind. Mythos says, it was very respectful comments from Ange without overdoing it, which it probably is. And like I say, Mythos, the reasonable side to me probably agrees with you. But undeniably, when it comes to Celtic, I'm not fair-minded. I'm not balanced in my views. I'm biased, and it was just a bit of me when I heard it. I went, shut up. I can't help it.
I mean, it's fair because we are, one of the most passionate and reactionary fan bases in world football, and we've got every right to do that. This is the same man who, a few days before he left to go to Tottenham, was, giving some people false hope, and people were maybe reading into it a bit too much, but he still did just say, "Oh, you'll be surprised how long I'm here for." And if to any supporter who he knows how they feel about him, they think that means I'm going to be here for a good long while. You know what I mean? And then a few days before he says, "Oh, somebody else was linked with the job last week, so what does it really matter?" That's not, doing the thing that people necessarily wanted to happen and just squashing the rumours outright, or just confirming it, you know, getting a bit of closure. But it's, yeah, I mean, I'm kind of not, I think with the whole thing with Brendan was, I was pissed off for that, you know what I mean? Like, we always press conference and stuff, it was like fucking looking at Medusa, man. I couldn't look at her with turned to stone. Funnily enough, she was a big snake, you know, but then, you know, I softened over time, and it's, you know, I kind of look on this now with new eyes. You know, I was a young man when Brendan left, and I'm a bit older and wiser now. You know, all 25 years of me. But it's, I kind of look at it as in, I'm like, fair enough, Ange, you did what you did. I respect it, although I don't respect it, but I understand it, and I don't hate you for it, like some people would. But I do feel there is, you know, ways that we could be saying, right, if it does go tits up, you could be like, look what you fucking did. You left, you know, immortality for mediocrity. You know, the banners will be getting dusted off again by the Green Brigade whenever he plays Spurs in the Champions League, if he's still there. But I'm kind of mixed on it. I get why you would still be fucking aging me and be a bit snide, but at the end of the day, I'm kind of just like, I'm not too fucked, because Celtic's my main priority, and what happens, you know, from now on is just solely focused on Brendan and what he does, and whatever happens with Ange happens.
Whatever happens, happens. Just because at the press conference today, I thought we'd talk about it. But anyway, that's that covered. We've enjoyed it. It was 52 minutes, not 20 minutes. Enjoyed the show with you, Connor. Thank you for jumping on to the Monday Club on the Bhoycie Bus. Remember, next time we do T-shirts, hopefully some of you will not be offended by the fact that a podcast sells T-shirts. Seems a bit strange that would offend.
Would this be the same podcast that sent out all their subscribers enamel pins with their podcast name on it to slap on their Celtic scarves and that, like anybody be fucking seen dead with one of them on?
I know. But anyway, what we'll do is we'll set up our Discord tonight, mate, and
I know.
well, it'll be peace and love in all the world.
Nah, everybody big get ready for a slagging.
No, none of that. Peace and love.
No.
Enjoy the rest of what's left of your Monday evening, guys. We do appreciate you jumping on the bus. There's nearly 200 on tonight. We always appreciate it. Remember, do hit that like button, give us a wee share, slag the hair, hit subscribe, become a member, all that good stuff. See you later.